Hey guys, good evening and thanks for joining. So in the last class, we started cybersecurity and we started couple of security definitions in the cybersecurity. So far, we completed what is cybersecurity, what is SIM, what is SOC, what is log, and what is log types. And also we discussed about what is incident, alert, and also notification and event. So let's start and discuss about couple of other definitions. So next one is EPS. So EPS full form is events per second. So whatever logs are generating per second, so whatever abnormal activity is generating per second, so or whatever events are generating per second, so that one from all the data sources and log sources. So that may be irrespective of there are so many data sources and log sources. So that is called events per second. And these events per second, always we have to coordinate and collaborate with the different internal stakeholders to get the overall EPS count. But if we're doing the practical way, whenever if you want to do the SIM tool design, nothing but EPS count and also per day, how much GB it is generating, everything is like an assumption. So why we have to go with the assumption? Because each and every stakeholder is not aware of per second how many logs are generating or events are generating. Okay, so what is events per second? Per second, how many events or logs generating by data source or log source. Okay, in-depth analysis I will give in a couple of minutes. Please wait. And also EPM, events per minute. Per minute, how many logs are generating? So that is called EPM. EPY, events per year. Per year, how many events are generating? So that is called events per year. In this similar way, same as it is, as I said several times in the class, not only we will integrate logs or events to SIM tool, but also we'll integrate it flow data also to SIM tool. But every vendor or every tool is not supporting this concept. So I'm repeating once again, whatever I said just now. So we have two different types of, okay, so things we can integrate it to SIM tool. One is events or logs. Second one is flow per data or flow data. So every SIM tool is not supporting this flow integration. Why? Because event has a less bandwidth, less space as compared to the flow data or packet. Okay, so who are all the vendors are supporting to integrate the flow data? HP ArcSight and McAfee and IBM QRadar. These three vendors only supporting for integrating of the flow data, remaining all other vendors. So Azure Sentinel or Splunk or maybe Exabeam, Elk or Elin Vault and other vendors are not supporting this concept. Okay, whenever someone will ask what is the difference between one SM tool vendors to other SM tool vendor, you have to explain about all these differences also. Going forward, we can discuss about all those differences. But as I said, we will not only integrate events, we will integrate even IP packets also. Flow is nothing but IP packet. IP packet contains 32-bit number. If it is IPv4, it's IPv6 128-bit number. So why we have to integrate flow data to SIM tool? Mainly to monitoring, to alerting, to processing, to real-time monitoring, to instant investigation of the flooding category and also spoofing category of the attacks. Mainly these two category of the attacks. Even we have to integrate the flow data also. Example, TCP flood, UDP flood, ICMP, ping of death, ping flood attack. Okay, in the similar way, DOS and DDoS attacks. Along with that one, we discussed about IP spoofing, email spoofing, DNS spoofing, ARP spoofing attacks. If you want to monitor these attacks, obviously we have to integrate flow data in the network level. Okay, so we'll integrate basically two different types of things. One is events and second one is flows. As I said, I'm repeating once again, flow data integration is supporting by only three vendors, IBM QRadar, HP ArcSight, and McAfee. No other vendors are supporting this concept. This is one of the main difference between one SIM tool vendor to other SIM tool vendors. So FPS, flow per second. So flow is always in the form of the packet. Flow is equals to in the form of IP packet or traffic. Nothing but it contains the IP header and payload. Already we discussed very long back under the TCP IP layers and also transport layer. What is TCP packet in the transport layer? What is meant by IP packet in the network or internet layer? IP packet contains the IP header in short, and payload is contain the piece of the written code. Once again, IP header, if you want to divide into in-depth analysis, we have version of the IP and also internet header length and also type of the service and also window size, IP flags, segmentation, window size, options, data, padding, source IP, destination IP. I'm not sure how many people are remember this concept here. What I'm trying to say here, go back to our very beginning topic. Where is IP packet and TCP? TCP flags. Yeah, IP packet. You can see this is the IP packet and this is the TCP packet. Basically, I think the diagram, whatever I have shown, it is missing here. I will add that particular diagram here and also here. So I can go and I can re-verify once again. IP packet, backend diagram. So this is the IP packet. So flow data, if you are integrating to SIM tool, as I said, only three vendors are supporting. Version of the IP for IP address, internet header length, type of the service, total length of the packet, identification of the IP packet, three IP flags, fragment offset, time to live, protocol of the IP, header checksum, source IP, destination IP, options and padding. Up to here, in short, we can call it as IP header. And this one we can call it as a data or message or piece of the written code. So this particular packet data also we have to integrate using the flow collector method. It's one of the favorite entry question. Today also NTT data entry questions. What you know about? So any SIM tool administrator, forget about whether so IBM QRadar, Splunk or Sentinel or Exabeam and so on. So do you experience on the SIM tool administrator or not? Okay. So flow data are also we are integrating. So flow per second here. Per second, how much flow data is generating in the form of IP packets. In the similar way, FPM flow per minute. So per minute, how much flow data is generating. So next one, FPY, flow per year. Per year, how much flow data is generating. So next one, our SM2 license. SM2 license, why I'm going now itself? Because we are going to design now how to calculate storage. Okay, so storage is based on the GB per day. That is nothing but licensing option. And second thing is total number of the end users. I'm repeating once again, total number of the end users and also per day, how much, okay, gigabytes of the data it is generating. So even terabytes also we can calculate, that is also fine. But most of the vendors, they give an option as a gigabytes per second. So let's discuss now here. So SIM2 license is depending on two parameters. Total number of end users of the organizations in the organization, sorry. Second option, per day, GB, how much it is generating. According to that one, we can calculate our storage retention policy based on the compliances point of view also. Okay, now let's go and discuss about how to calculate storage or retention policy for any SIM tool vendor. Before going to do that, so first I want to clarify a couple of other definitions also. So nothing but data source or log source. Today, entity data interview panel as per L3 level role, completely they focused on for malware category of the attacks. What is the data source? For VPN authentication failures from the different geographical location, that one we can call it as impossible traversal attack. One person is sitting in the Hyderabad location, but his authentication login failures are coming from Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata, and so on. So for these scenarios, what is the data source and log source? Which data source logs or which log sources logs will you go and validate? That means you should know about the backend process also, each and every tool importance and also feature. Then only you can give the perfect answer. Otherwise, obviously, entire investigation will go wrong. Okay, first is what is data source or log source? From where the logs or data is generating is called as data source or log source. Example of the log sources are so these log sources I will define based on my customization. I'm not following any book or any other channel or something like that. I have done my own. Okay, so segregation part. So first one is security related logs. Under this one, whatever security tools we are using in our organization side, all those data sources logs, if you are integrating to SIM tool. Okay, so those log sources or data sources, we can call it as security data sources or log sources. Example, EDR under the endpoint security side, or XDR, DLP, endpoint encryption, HADS, HAPS, file integrity monitoring, mobile device management. All these are security solutions or security tools. In the similar way, on the network security side or perimeter security side, we have next generation firewall, NGFW, network IDS, network IPS, proxy, or web gateway. So that is on the network security side. On the application security side, we will use couple of the data source or log sources like SAST scans results. So that is also security tool. We are doing the code scanning and also DAST and also web application firewall. That is on the application security side. Under the infrastructure or vulnerability management side, VM, okay, I'm not providing any tool oriented here. VM tools, that is all security. Finally, email gateway or email security solution. Maybe if you are using any other tools for the identity access management or privilege access management or cloud security tool side, that one also can include. Okay, for example, CSPM, cloud security posture management. That may be CrowdStrike or Sophos or Palo Alto or Tripwire or Checkpoint. There are so many other data sources. So these are all security oriented. In the similar way, let's move into second one. Network data sources or log sources. Networking side. Obviously, hub, switch, router, load balancer. Next one, wireless LAN, LAN. So whatever networking devices we are deploying in the organization side, all those things we have to integrate it to SIM tool. So network engineers or network administrators, they will use so hub, switch, router, load balancer, WLAN, LAN, DNS. DNS and DHCP I'll keep under the DDI solution. So these are all the network data sources or log sources. Let's move into infrastructure. So data sources or log sources. Under this one, all the servers, all the endpoints, next one, all the database servers. When you say all the servers, it includes everything. Whatever servers we discussed, database, web server, file server, DNS, DHCP, Active Directory, domain controller, middleware, Microsoft, Unix. Under Unix, there are so many other flavors of the servers as well. So that will fall under the infrastructure servers or log sources from the infrastructure side. So next one is application oriented logs. All the applications that is deployed in the on-premise and also cloud. So this is applicable to all the applications. What application logs are generating in our organization side? That may be internal facing application or internet facing applications. Finally, cloud oriented logs. Whatever cloud related logs we are using in the organization side, that may be AWS or Azure or GCP or OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Alibaba, okay, IBM, extra. So these cloud related logs also we have to integrate to SIM tool. So these are all the couple of data sources and log sources every organization will maintain. What is the inter question now? In your organization or whatever project you are supporting for the customer or client, which are the different types of data sources or log sources logs are integrated to SIM tool. If you know the answer or if you don't know the answer, forget about these 5 classifications. Just you can say, so whatever customer or client I am supporting in my organization, we integrated couple of data sources or log source logs to SIM tool. Those log sources are, or those data sources are firewall, proxy, IDS, IPS, email gateway. So network IDS, network IPS, encryption, web application firewall, email gateway, email security solutions, all the endpoints, all the servers, all the databases, all the cloud applications, all the applications in the on-premise and entire cloud environment. So these are all the different types of data sources logs or log sources logs we integrated to in our SIM tool. Okay, this one maximum cases we can expect. That one also they can expect. Second question, how many data sources, logs are integrated to SIM tool, or how many log source logs are integrated to SIM tool? Nothing but they are expecting count. Example, you can say 200, or you can say 1000, or you can say 10,000. Any count you can give to them. Why? Because endpoints itself in the organization it contains. Take example of TCS. 6,25,000 employees are working in, more than that basically. Each and every endpoint or asset. So logs will generate. So for that one, data source and log source are maximum more than 7 lakhs or 700k assets or database or application side. You can say minimum 200 to 300. Then once again they will ask why only 200 or why only 300. You can respond back. All the endpoints I consider is one log source. All the firewalls I consider is one log source. All the Unix servers I consider is one log source. All the Windows servers I consider is one log source. That is what you have to respond back. Okay, this is one of the very favorite interview question. So what are the different types of data sources or log sources you are integrated to SIM tool? Okay, now based on these data source and log source, we have to calculate EPS count, events per second. How we can calculate events per second or flow per second? Let's draw this diagram. For this one, I will put total EPS calculations. EPS are flow per second calculations. Everything is assumption based, hypothesis based. We can assume. So now, first of all, if we want to calculate total number of how much EPS it is generating or flow per second it is generating. So if you are working for any client, client will provide the total how much EPS it is generating. Or if you are working for any product based company, you have to calculate yourself how much EPS count is generating from the scratch. This one once again like an assumption. What is meant by assumption or a hypothesis? I'll explain now. So first one is data source name or log source name. Next one, total number of quantities, quantity otherwise, total number of EPS count or EPS count, sorry, EPS count for one data source, total number of EPS count, multiplication of quantity and also EPS count for one data source. Nothing but B and C, multiplication of the B and C column. So next one, flow per second for one data source, total number of flow per second count. Okay, take couple of examples now. So first one, data source or log source name. I will take firewall. So quantity of the firewalls in my organization we are using. Okay, so maybe 10 locations, 10 into 2 firewalls. That will come 20 firewalls. So quantity I'm giving 20 firewalls as a including of the high availability also. Okay, EPS count for one data source or one firewall now here. Take example of 100. Now total number of the EPS count of the 20 firewalls. 20 into 100. 2000. Flow per second, whatever it is generating on the data source side or log source side, maybe 50. So we have overall. So 20 devices, 20 into 50, 1000 flow per second. In the similar way, actually, if you want to get these information, you have to speak with firewall team. You are cybersecurity SOC operation. You are designing the solution now. If you want to get these flow per second, you have to speak with the firewall team or network security team or network administrators. Okay. So for example, maybe you are a solution architect or security architect and you want to design SIM tool design or SIM tool solution to calculate GB per day, how much it is generating or total number of the EPS count. In that scenario, what will you do? You will go and you will speak with each and every internal stakeholder. If you are working product based company, if you are working for service based company, client has to provide the total EPS count. I'm saying about different scenarios basically. So whatever count I took, if I will go and I'll speak with the firewall team per day, per second, sir, per second, how many EPS counts are generating by firewall? How many flow per second is generating by firewall? Do you think that network administrator or network firewalls team, will they go and will they give the exact count whatever it is generating? Not at all. They will say, I'm not sure. If you are not sure means, how can I design my solution architecture diagram for the cybersecurity SIM tool side? That is the reason always we can go to security based practices. You can go to Google and you can give the EPS count is generated by each and every data source in the organization side. You can get the couple of assumptions like event tracker, IP packet, takeexams.net, and so on. Validate 3 to 4 different types of websites and you can conclude which one is good for us to go ahead. Example, EPS count generated by every data source or log source. So they'll give assumptions on this from IBM QRadar. So not IBM QLED. So this list of the log sources and how much EPS is generated. They are doing estimation only, like assumption part. So do you think that real this assumption is correct? We have to go and we have to verify the multiple tools vendors. So they are also raising a query. managed per second, and also managed per second event side. That is for logarithm concept. Need to find peak EPS per log source. How can you do and where can we go? So they are giving once again bus circuit. This is completely wrong website. Okay. So once again, IBM QRadar. So this is what every solution architect and security architect will do, designing by going and by doing the couple of websites assumption side. It's like a completely assumption. Otherwise, we have to speak with the our vendors, how they are estimating the events per second and also log per second. Try the calculator from log point side for sizing side. It is showing once again. We are updating the size calculator, book the demo. Once again, we have to book with the demo. So in this similar way, you can go and you can validate different websites. Wherever it is possible, take that one. I can provide couple of websites, whatever I used to follow or I'm following. Log point it will give, basically it is not showing. Once again, they are asking about demo. Otherwise, you have to speak with the vendor because we are assuming maybe wrong count. So that is the reason we have to go and speak with the vendor. Vendor will provide the proper log count, how much it is generating by each and every. So once again, that is also assumption. Don't think like the vendor do completely correct answers to us. Okay, I can provide couple of websites, guys. So this is the way you can go and you can validate. Router, how many events per second it is generating. Switches, how many events per generated it is secondary. Okay, so firewall, how many events per second it is generating. In such a we can go and we can do verification of the EPS count. Okay, go back to our sheet now. Active directory. So quantities for 10 locations I said I'm using 10. EPS count. If you want to if you want to know about how much EPS count is generating by Active Directory or domain controller, basically we have to speak with our internal stakeholder or maybe client. So that may Windows administrator or system administrator or my network administrator. Then they will provide the EPS count. Do you think that in the real time and practical world, really they know about how many events per second it is generating? No. Even though you will contact, they will say, I'm not sure how many events per second it is generating. I'm not sure about flow per second it is generating. Now what we have to do? We have to design the solution. We have to design the architecture diagram. We have to provide the security design to the customer or client. Or we have to provide the design or solution to the our internal product-based company. So dependencies with other stakeholders. That's why we will not go for the each and every stakeholder. Even they will contact, they will not provide the total number of the EPS count or APS count, how much it is generating. We have to go and we have to speak with the vendor, or we have to go and we have to take from security based practices. Okay, so that's what we have to do. For example, per second it is generating 50. Now we have 10 active directories for 10 different types of locations. 10 into 50, total will come 500. So flow per second it is generating once again 50. So 50 into 10, 500. In the similar way, other data sources are EDR. So for 10 locations, we are using only one EDR, like a centralized management console. Quantity is 1. EPS count it is generating 500. So total number of EPS count 500. Flow per second it is generating 500. So 1 into 500, 500. So this is on the EDR side. In the similar way, router, switch, load balancer, web application firewall, servers, databases, endpoints, email gateway, database servers, web servers, file servers, application related logs, DLP related logs, cloud related logs. So next one, encryption related logs, proxy, NADS, NAPS, SAST, DAST, vulnerability management, and so on. If we're combining together, for example, as assumption, do you think that once again, these count whatever initially we are calculating for 2024? Do you think that same count it is established and it will generate once again in 2025? Maybe count will increase or decrease. Horizontal and vertical growth. Hope for the best. Why we have to always hope for the positive way? Why we have to dream ourselves? Always, if why you are doing going to business to get the profits, nobody will do business for the losses, correct? It's a hope. Maybe we'll become rich or millionaire or billionaire and so on. Same way, horizontal and vertical growth also, it is not constant in 2024 versus 2025 versus 2026 versus 2027 and so on. Maybe right now TCS employees are 6,25,000 or 625K. Maybe 2025 they will reach 700K. By 2030 they will reach 1 million. 10 lakhs employees as a overall TCS count. Now, here count of the employees are increasing. Indirectly, it leads to laptop count is increasing, application count is increasing, session count is increasing, logs count is increasing, EPS count is increasing, flow per second count is increasing. That is the reason year on year we have to consider horizontal and vertical growth when you are doing the sizing part. This concept in the cloud environment we can call it as elasticity. Automatically it can increase the space or reduce the space based on whether employees are terminating, whether resources are terminating. But on the physical one, if you want to deploy, obviously you have to do the proper design. Now, after doing all these overall calculation, total number of the EPS count. Example 10,000. So by doing all these, overall sum of the EPS counts for each and every data source. I'm not going to flow per second. Same thing for flow per second also. Now, this is for 2025 only, 2024 only. Maybe 2025 once again count will increase. 2026 once again count will increase. 27 count will increase once again. Every year on year that count will increase. EPS count will increase indirectly. Once again, whatever total number of the EPS count it is generated by calculating the assumptions or maybe hypothesis based or crown jewel analysis side or sampling theorem side. Now, in 2024 also, we have to keep as a buffer. We have to increase the buffer from either 30% or 40%. You can keep like 30% now. So overall EPS count is equals to 10,000 plus 10,000 into 30%. As a buffer we are keeping. Why? Because we are taking the assumptions. We are not sure off peak hours of the EPS count, on peak maximum number of the EPS count. We have to take always maximum peaks of the count. If we don't calculate proper way, what will happen? Maybe in future your EPS count is increased. Same time instant it's happened. That logs will not go to SIM tool. Obviously, your alert not is triggered. Maybe your system will get compromised. Because of the one system, other system also got compromised. Lateral movement. Entire organization will be shut down. Lot of business impact analysis and risk assessment we have to do. To eliminate all these loopholes or disadvantages or drawbacks or cons, we can go and we can add on top of the EPS count whatever our estimation we have done, our client is providing also, we can add either 30% buffer or 40% buffer. Now I am adding 10,000 plus 10,000 into 30%. Nothing but 10,000 plus 30,000. That is equivalent to 13,000 in 2024. In the similar way, this 2024. Once again for 2025. Whatever 13,000 it is added on top of that one, you can add 30%. 13,000 plus 13,000 into 30% buffer. So that will come around 13,000 plus 13 into 3, 3,900. 16,900. EPS count that is on the 2024. In the similar way, 16,900 plus 16,900 into 30% for 2026. So here 17,000 plus 17,000 to 3, 5,100. So almost it will come 22,100. So that is on 2026. Sorry, this one is on 2020. 13,000 here 2024. And here 2025, 2026 and so on. So this is the way you have to do the horizontal and vertical growth, not only for our SIM tool design side. Even if you want to choose firewall licensing option, vulnerability management solution, EDR solution, DLP solution, we have to add these buffers. For example, maybe you're a government sector, I don't want to move into any cloud-based SIM solution. I want with on-premise solution. For that one, I have to purchase physical hardware IBM QRadar, physical Splunk tool, physical Exabeam, physical logarithm. Because I'm a government sector company. I don't trust any cloud because of the security issues. If you don't do the proper designing, do you think that every time I can go and I can change my SIM tool or change my overall hardware? Your personal point of view also, whenever you are purchasing your mobile or laptop, you're forecasting approximate 2 to 3 years. Why not 1 year you are going and change every time your mobile and also every time your laptop? Because of the budget, because of the money, because of the cost, because of the data storage, because of the backup, because of the other issues. I cannot go and I cannot change my hardware device every year. So whenever if you want to purchase any solution, minimum 3 years to 5 years we can consider. Minimum 5 years as a hardware based. For cloud side, there is no problem because of the elasticity side. Okay. So this is basically we are calculating the total number of the EPS count only. That's all. After calculating the EPS count now, what we have to do? We have to calculate GB per day. How to calculate GB per day? I will explain now. Why we have to calculate GB per day? Already provided here. SIM licensing is based on the total number of the end users in the organization side and also per day how much GB it is generating. Let's go and calculate how much GB it is generating. Each and every vendor, they are not providing the proper solution design, how they are doing the backend. Only IBM Career is providing the proper way, standard one of the things they are giving to us. For this much EPS count, For these many days, this much storage is required. No other vendor is proposing this concept. Yesterday, entire question from entity data. What is the main difference between IBM QRadar versus logarithm? Candidate mentioned these two SIM solution. That means you should know about IBM QRadar features, design, hardware, implementation, everything, and also features and technical perspectives. In the similar way, logarithm side also technical features, advantages, drawbacks, cons, and also whether what type of implementation and hardware it will support. Otherwise, you will provide the completely wrong answer. You should be aware of the entire project lifecycle management process. Maybe you are going and reading the Gartner report or NSS Labs report or Cooper report. Do you think that okay, we can go and we can vomiting whatever they ask as it is? Not necessary. Okay, if you know and about the overall okay, so features and development and design implementation, everywhere we can provide the answer. Not about only technical perspective or technical features oriented. Okay, let's start now. How to calculate GB per day now? Calculation of GB per day. For this one, we need total number of EPS count. We have seen in 2024 13,000. 10,000 is actual EPS count. On top of that one, we added 30% as a buffer now. So 30% of 10,000 plus 10,000 equivalent to 13,000. For this one, we have to calculate now storage. Once again for 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028. 25 years I need SIM solution. Okay. So first we can calculate for the 2024. Events per day. Total number of events per second into 24 hours into 60 minutes into 60 seconds. Why? Because one day we are calculating events per second. We know about events per second per day. How many seconds we do have? We have 24 hours. 1 hour equivalents to 60 minutes. 60 minutes equivalent to once again 60 seconds. Nothing but 86,400. That is the overall 24 into 60 into 60 for multiplying. Is a basic math. Okay. So now here 13,000 into 24 into 60 into 60 because we know about EPS. We know quantity in the seconds. That is the reason I am okay converting into seconds. If I know about EPM, I no need to keep once again seconds. I can keep in the directly minutes wise. Okay. Now 60. So I will give equal now 13,000 into 24 into nothing but 86,400. So this is for events per day. In the similar way, events per year. You know about events per second, events per day per 1 year equivalent to how many number of days? 365. Events per second into 365 days. That is equivalent to okay. So row number D 111 into 365. That will come altogether events per year. Yes, we came to know that per year these many events are generating. Now, we did not complete yet storage now. Storage in the form of the bits or bytes or kilobytes per second or megabytes per second or terabytes per second or picobytes per second in the bits or bytes format, but we received in the form of the total number count. How can we convert into numerical number or quantity into bytes or bits? That means we need bit count or we need byte count. So that is the reason, as per the security best practices, that may be ISACA or European Council or ISC Square or NIST or from other vendors, what they said. Please consider one event equivalence to bytes per second or year, per year. One event assume as a 500 bytes or 400 bytes. Okay, one event we have to consider as a either 500 bytes or 400 bytes. IBM Curador, Exabeam, Splunk, these vendors, they will consider 500 bytes. Remaining all other vendors, they will consider or they will assume as a 400 bytes. Now you can calculate events bytes per year equals to, so column number, nothing but here, events per year into bytes per year. Okay, now you can calculate bytes per year, not record bytes. Now here this one equivalents to this one into, and also 400. I am taking 500 example. So this is the overall per year. How many bytes are generating? Now we know about bytes. 1 kilobytes equivalents to 1024 bytes. Forget about 20. We can make as a round off. Okay. 1 kilobytes equals to 1000 bytes. 1 megabytes equals to 10 power 6. 1 gigabytes equals to, okay, 10 power 9. 1 terabytes equals to, so 10 power 12, and picobytes equals to 10 power 15. This one you can connect now into GB per day. Before going to do that, take a compression ratio. So this is the way how the security best practices, okay, every vendor is doing. Couple of things are universal truths. Why always sun will rise in the east? Why the water will go in the slope? Okay. So this is the way couple of things are always universal truth. Why Tirupati Laddu is very sweet? So these truths we have to accept. This is called as security based practices. So now as per security best practices, so what are the different types of institutions or organizations? They concluded and they came up with one of the solution as a data compression ratio. Whatever you are generating total number of the bytes per year, you have to reduce as a compression ratio once again. That compression ratio, this is before compression ratio. This is after compression ratio. After compression ratio, how much normal equivalent compression ratio we have to consider? Before going to that, compression ratio we will consider as a either 1 is to 10 or 1 is to 15 or 1 is to 17. Okay, now I'm taking either 1 is to 15 or 1 is to 10. Whatever before compression ratio, we received the total number of the bytes of the count. Ratio we are doing 1 by 10 or 1 by 15 or 1 by 17. After compression ratio, total number of bytes equals to, so this count equal into, so this one already provided 500 events bytes per year into, I am taking compression is 1 is to 10, 1 by 10. So this is the formula. Now events byte per year equals to, this is the one, into 1 by 10. So that is the overall count for byte side. Now as I said, GB per day, this one you can convert into GB per day. So GB, kilo 10 power 3, mega 10 power 6, giga 10 power 9. So 10 power 9, you can reduce that one and you can calculate per year how much space is required. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So point here, 20498, 20498.4 gigabytes per second. So this is the one. Otherwise, if you want to convert gigabytes into terabytes, 20.4984 terabytes per second. If I want to convert pico, 0.024984 picobytes per second. Simple math, mathematical calculation. So this is what we need. So now for 1 year, this much storage is required or space is required to store all the logs. Once you are providing the GB per day, total number of the end users, now respect to vendor, they can provide how much license cost it will be other than hardware cost. For example, per second or per GB per day, it's a $5. I'm repeating once again. GB per day equals to $5. Now, whatever GB per day we received. Okay, this is not per second, sorry, per day. Now, 24,490 into $5. 100K USD dollars dedicatedly for day wise. Okay, so our licensing cost. Other than that one, once again, we have to evaluate hardware cost, how much it is involved. You are purchasing hardware or you are purchasing software, software cost. You are purchasing SaaS-based solution according to that one. This is what you have to provide. Okay, so to the vendor. Now vendor can provide the suitable model number to us. Whenever you are purchasing your mobile or your laptop, you will provide prerequisites to the respective shop owner, or maybe Amazon, or maybe Flipkart, or maybe Walmart, or Tesco, and so on. If you want to go and book, I need 32 GB as a laptop hard disk, I mean RAM. I need 1 terabytes hard disk. I need HDD, SDD. I need 10224 as a front end camera. I need i9 processor or I need i11 processor. According to that one, you can go and you can provide the details to the vendor, then vendor can provide the suitable model number. Same concept here also. Once you are calculating the overall GB per day, Then we will come to know which is the model number is suitable for total number of the EPS count is generating. This for only 1 year we calculated 2024. In this similar way, additionally for 2025 how much it is required, for 2026 is how much it is required. Now overall based on these 3 years, what is the maximum number of the EPS count GB per day it is generating, how much license cost it is involved. License cost is vary from year on year, but total hardware cost is at a time cost, one time cost. Now according to that one, respective vendor they can provide the hardware model number to us. So the storage calculation not only depending on how much space is required to store the logs, based on the retention policy also. This retention policy, for how many days you want to store the logs, that is called retention policy. Whether 1 year or 6 months or 2 years or 3 months. Whether once again those logs for online logs or offline logs. Based on these parameters, security architect, solution architect, okay, they can go and they can design. If there are any queries, obviously they can approach the vendor. From vendor support also he will take. On behalf of the customer client, we are providing a solution as a security architect or solution architect. So because of this clumsiness, what IBM QRadar it has done based on the past experience, based on the different customer people opinion, so they came up with one of the dedicated, so EPS count, number of days, total number of storage is required. That formula equals to IBM QRadar vendor, what they said, for 1000 EPS count for 90 days, we need 6.5 terabytes. This is not for 1 day job or 2 day job or 3 days job. Based on the overall historical analysis, comparing the sampling theorem and feedback, and finally they come to know maximum storage how much is required for 90 days, for 1 quarter, for in 1 year 90 days 365 4. This is the space is required or storage is required. No other vendor doesn't have this formula. Why can't you go and you can say at the time of the interview, what is the difference between IBM QRadar vendor versus Splunk, IBM QRadar versus Azure Sentinel, IBM QRadar versus Logarithm, or IBM QRadar versus okay, so Exabeam. At the time of the storage calculation, at the time of the designing of the solution, from the IBM QRadar side and Logarithm side, IBM QRadar has came up with multiple deployments in the past analysis or historical analysis. They provided easy way of the storage calculation. That is nothing but for 1000 EPS count for 90 days, it is required 6.5 terabytes. If we are comparing this one with the logarithm vendor, there are a lot of disadvantages, drawbacks. If we are comparing Splunk, there are a lot of disadvantages, drawbacks. So, so they're defining the calculation of the storage a little bit complicated. Couple of times we have to take 1.1, couple of times we have to take okay 0.92 actual EPS count. Why I'm saying all this? Because I have deployed more than okay, so 50 design and deployments to multiple clients all over the worldwide. I validated logarithm, I validated IBM QRadar, I validated Splunk, I validated HP ArcSight, I validated ELK. I used to coordinate with all these vendors directly. at the time of the solution design. So when I used to do that, I used to face a lot of complications, issues, and then also how to calculate the storage. Maybe if I will do mistake, entire solution will go wrong. If solution architect or security architect will do any design wrong, entire solution also will become wrong. That is what it's happened when I was working in X company. I provided wrong solution, wrong design, wrong EPS count, wrong buffer. That is Exabeam. Finally, we purchased 4,000 model number of the SIM tool, but once we are deploying in the tool in the North America, California. So finally, EPS count is increased suddenly. It is not reducing at all. We monitored almost 2 weeks. We purchased for 5,500 EPS count. Continuously 2 weeks, next 2 weeks. It is reaching 9,000. Somewhere I did the mathematical calculation wrong. That entire solution went wrong. Then we spoke and we rectified everything. Instead of the 4,000 model number, we could have been purchased 6,000 model number. That's okay. I did mistake. That doesn't mean that I'm a wrong person. Sometimes it will happen. It should be happen. Basically, it must happen. Then only you'll become strong. Okay. And that is what. Okay. So this is what wanna be how to calculate storage for any SIM tool vendor. Okay. So this is once again I'm saying nowadays you are not doing all these things. Not even people are working in the L1 or L2 or L3 level. They don't have this access also. They don't have not even admin level access also. Practical real-time world. If you are putting 0 to 4 years experience, do you think that they will give admin access to you? You are putting 0 to 6 years experience. Do you think that they will give admin access to you? Not at all. Compulsory if you have the minimum 7+ years of experience. Then only once again administrator also. From the scratch, you will not do everything. Maybe you'll do fine tuning, not from the scratch. As a fresh EDR implementation or firewall implementation or SIM tool implementation and so on. All these things by the by respect to vendor itself they are doing. If it's IBM, IBM is doing. If it is Splunk, Splunk is doing. If it is HP ArcSight implementation team is doing. Not even all these multinational companies are doing these concepts or implementations. Even these multinational companies also implementation teams are there. Do you think that from the scratch they are doing entire overall implementation, providing the IP address to tell the fine tuning, troubleshooting, and operational support of L1, L2, L3? No, they will do only maybe fine tuning L1, L2, L3. Remaining all other implementations can be done by respective vendor itself. But even though when you're going for the interview as administrator, what are things you will monitor? What are things you will do as implementation side? Even for 0 to 4 years experience people also they're expecting the same thing. In 4 to 6 years also same thing. In 7+ also same thing. But real time we will not do all these. Okay. So that's all for today, guys. Then we'll continue tomorrow. Couple of other definitions. Today, whatever I discussed, completely it belongs to security design or security solution. By the by, it's a generic one I discussed. Whatever design I have done, the data sources, log sources, overall EPS count, and everything, it's a generic one. But vendor to vendor, these calculations maybe it will vary. Splunk maybe it will vary, or IBM Curator it will vary, Exabeam it will vary, Sentinel it will vary. Okay. So this is what you have to do at the time of the solution designing. Once customer is provided the tender or request for proposals. Is it clear or not? Is it clear, Nagarjuna? Is it clear?
Sir, I have a note here.
Yeah, please.
Uh, you're saying that we need to maintain 20 to 30% of buffer for next year.
Mm.
like that. In storage lies also we have to maintain extra storage. Suppose if you new devices are there coming, uh, suppose new device we need to monitor, then what is the then events per second will increase
Yeah, I get
further.
it. Whatever I get it. Whatever you said. You have to take overall. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Whatever you said. You have to consider not about only for 1 year. Storage point of view, you have to consider overall after 3 years. So maybe licensing is cost is vary from year on year, but at the time of the choosing the model hardware model number, you have to purchase on the 2024 itself. That is applicable to up to 2026 also. 2024, 2025, 2025 6. So that is what you have to purchase. There is no other option. That's the reason so many people are migrating to cloud environment. Why initially 2024 itself, I had to go and I had to purchase very high end model number. Can't we add any disk there? Or can't we add any model number? Okay, maybe HP servers or IBM server, that disk concept is available. Maybe in future they have to deploy this disk concept also for each and every SIM tool vendor. But right now no vendor is supporting that one. Maybe Node, IBM courier side it's okay. Your Node is option is available. But whatever other vendors, every vendor they are making their own default okay so hardware device. Logarithm, Splunk, Exabeam and other vendors. IBM courier, okay, we can purchase additional node for each and every year on top of that one. So they have that concept. But remaining vendors that does they don't have that concept. In that scenario, obviously you are right. So we have to go and we have to purchase for so whatever 2026 we are going to storage, that much hardware device we have to choose initially itself. Is it clear? Any other? Whenever someone will ask at the time of the differences, please remember all these concepts also. Design side also. By the by, yesterday someone asked about same question. What is the difference between IBM Courier versus Splunk or IBM Courier versus logarithm? First of all, that interviewer itself it doesn't know about what this design is about. He's just only monitoring a L2 or L3. He doesn't know about what is design and implementation. He asked about just randomly by taking one of the Excel sheet. For everyone, you'll ask same questions. So at the time of the designing, you are giving this answer. He'll shut his mouth. Sorry to say, because you know about the design level of the how the back end process also it will work. First of all, he doesn't know about the answer unless otherwise he is a security architect, solution architect. He doesn't have the okay answer, even answer also. What are you giving and explaining? Okay, any other questions? Okay, that's all. Tomorrow morning we have
Uh,
class. Yeah, please.
Sorry, RK, sorry. I have few questions.
Yeah, please.
So regarding the ITIL,
Hmm.
so whenever there is a question regarding the ITIL, what we need to do, what we need to explain them, like all over the like 8 steps or 7 steps, the incident, change or problem, all those things, or like only anything like no incident management will be fine with regarding with the ITL.
Okay. So most of the cases, what type of role you are applying, whether you are applying for the L1 or L2 or L3 or implementation level. If for implementation level, you have to explain about change management and also ITIL process, part of the incident lifecycle management process. But you are applying for only L2 and L3 level, then you have to explain about only ITIL process related to incident lifecycle management. Not even changes cannot be done by L2 or L3. So it depends on whether you are applying on the L1 vacancy or L2 vacancy or L3 vacancy or implementation vacancy. If I'm applying for implementation vacancy as a firewall administrator or EDR administrator or SIM tool administrator, I have to explain about problem statement, solution statement, service level agreements, incident lifecycle management, everything I have to explain. But you are applying for as a incident responder, threat hunter, reverse engineering, or malware analysis team, just explain about ITL process defined by instant lifecycle management process. There is no need to explain about change management and also other sub process whatever we discussed.
Um,
Is it
so
clear?
yeah, yeah. I know whether I don't know whether I forgot it. Did you tell about Smurf, SMURF, Smurf attack?
Smurf attack, I think we did not discuss. Yes, we did not discuss.
Okay, okay. So I think teardrop also, right? Teardrop, Smurf.
Yeah, we did not discuss this. Yeah, maybe alternate names are there. Yes, we did
Mhm.
not discuss. Yeah.
So I know the virus worm, right? Like no virus, if there is any malware, the user need to click and that
Mm,
one, and then it will gonna install and all those things.
mm.
So I see somewhere like what about the Trojan? Like Trojan,
Trojan.
like no, it's Trojan. So what does that mean? Like no, what I mean is like now, will the user put any kind of a like no, when he sees something like that, it needs to be installed. Or is there any kind of an instruction in that one, or like is it the same thing like the virus and worm where we need to click it and then it gonna install?
Yeah, it is same like whatever, okay, payload you are injecting in the form of the any scripting or programming language. So like a virus and worm only, same as it is. It will not change that one. On the other hand, whatever Smurf attack you asked about, it is a pink flood attack or ICMP flood attack we discussed. Did you remember pink flood attack and
Yeah, yeah,
ICMP flood attack?
yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, ICMP flood attack or pink flood attack or Smurf attack, all are synonyms. Smurf
Oh,
attack
okay.
is also called as ICMP flood attack. ICMP flood attack is also called as a ping flood attack. Attack will send the flooding of the ping request to the targeted machine, either DOS attack or DDoS attack. Finally, that target machine will become unavailable or damaged or crashed. That is also
Mhm.
called as ICMP or Smurf attack or ping flood attack. Coming back, Trojan related one, whatever you asked. So that is a malicious, not instructions, not instructions. It's a payload piece of the written code. He will develop the malicious software program code similar to like a virus or worm or ransomware or mimic edge or adware or spyware.
So will the user put any specific instruction in that virus?
No, you will not specify anything, just based on the driver download. In case
Uh,
that file is executing, executable file, then only that whatever malicious code attack is developed. So in case your EDR agent is maybe sleeping or unavailable or inactive, that code will be executed on the end user system, and based on the cyberculture process, attacker will gain the command and control access.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other?
So, even in simple also we will monitor health checkup,
That we can
like in
discuss in the future. Yeah, sure. That we can discuss tomorrow topic, that one.
will that will depend upon EPS count.
Yeah, that is different. Why? Because health checkup count is completely different versus the EPS count. Why? Because health health is nothing but whatever data sources or log sources logs are integrated to SIM tool. Whether all those data sources and log sources logs are coming into SIM tool or not. First and foremost, anyone is working on 24 bar 7. That may be L1 team or L2 team and L3 team. First, they have to see about health checkup report. All the data sources logs are coming into SIM tool or not. In the similar way, all the okay, so log source logs are not coming to SIM tool. Directly, where can we see that information? There is no need to generate any report also. In the dashboard itself, we can create one of the health checkup report related to all the data source and log sources. For example, maybe 80 to 100 data sources we are integrated SIM tool. All those 80 to 100 data source log sources we can monitor. So either firewall data source is down or up, logs are reflecting or not reflecting into SIM tool. How can you rectify that? How can you see that one? Based on the color code, whether it is a red or maybe green or maybe blue. That is one of the condition. Forget about color code. We should not explain the color code examples at the time of the interview. That is the reason always we have to go and we have to see if it is logarithm. So under the logs we have to go and we have to verify. For example, firewall device went down. Whether firewall logs are reflecting in the SIM tool or not. Maybe IBM QRadar. We can go to the log activity tab and we can see from past 1 day or maybe 1 week, firewall logs are not reflecting in the SIM tool or not. So that is a part of our daily day roles and responsibilities. This one will be monitored by L1 team. They will inform to L2 team, and L3 team can be coordinated with the respective customer or client. It's a because more than troubleshooting side. Not even L1 team, L2 team, they will do the troubleshooting part. So respect to L3 team, they can go on, they can speak with the customer client, and they can bring the into them call, and then finally they can do the troubleshooting based on the TCP dump analysis, or maybe based on the packet capture analysis. That is called overall health checkup oriented. That one we are going to discuss. Any other?
So for
Okay, then.
this one, sorry, last question. Sorry, my
Yeah,
bad.
it's okay
So
now.
for this flow thing, right? You said the flow thing, like only the QRadar, IBM QRadar do
Mm-hmm.
that, right? So right now we are using Splunk, right? Does that mean they don't use this thing, or like the
No,
client will not use?
they don't have that option at all. Splunk is not supporting at all. That is one of the main difference.
So the client
Once
will not do this flow control monitoring then?
no, they will monitor based on the logs only, not based on the IP packet or payload. So completely they will monitoring based on the logs only. But whether logs will give the data, so completely depending on the vendor wise only. So it's better to integrate. Why these vendors are not supporting? Maybe in future they will support that one also. Their R&D development team, they can focus on the flow integration as well. So couple of times we already reported this issue. They said like if you are integrating logs, that is sufficient. But whether really sniffing category or smurfing, whatever you said just now, or flooding or spoofing, based on the logs it will generate or not, we are not sure. So that is the reason it's better to integrate flow data also. But what is one of the drawback if you are integrating flow logs or flow data in the form of IP packets as compared to events, packet size is very high. Example, one of the event log size is maybe 500 bytes. One packet equivalents to 1 MB. If we are integrating all these packets into the SIM tool also, our GB per day it will increase very high. It indirectly leads to our overall SIM solution very expensive. Even though IBM QRadar, HP ArcSight, McAfee is supporting these flow data integration, based on my experience, out of 100 customers, 98 customers they are not integrating flow data because of the budget issues. So obviously, for your question, whatever you asked, they are taking as a risk, and also they are taking as a integrating of the logs to SIM tool only. If everything I am spending on the SIM tool itself, whatever my other solutions of the endpoint or GRC or application security and cloud security, every organization will not provide the too much budget for only for security, correct? So that is we have to think about, even we are keeping in the overall budget within the limits. Additionally, so can we reduce or can we take risk or not? According to that risk assessment, proof of concept, business impact analysis, validating the vendors, finally we can provide the proper solution. Any other?
Thank you.
Okay then. So tomorrow I will take morning class at 7:45. And thank you so much. Have a nice evening.